Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Irvin, also known as Couple Man. Welcome to another help desk tutorial. So my videos are good for help desk tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, and also desktop support and of course system administration. This is another video of the same series, but before we do this, I want to shout out to James Oringi. Thank you so much for becoming the very first member of my channel. So what I did sometime last month, I realized that I had the ability to activate memberships on my channel. So I went ahead and did that. And Mr. James here has signed up, is the first one to sign up. So thank you so much, James. I really appreciate it. That will go towards my coffee fund. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. All right, moving on. So in this video, we have a couple of different issues. The first one is RDP Sound Issue, and then we have another ticket for a local admin account that is not working. By the way, if you have 1 second, please click the like button. That also makes a big difference for my videos and also helps other people see this video because they can see that there is an interaction on the video itself. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, so let's look at the first ticket we have here, and that's RDP Sound Issues. It says here, "Hi, I use remote desktop to access my second PC, but audio coming from that computer is not working." So there are a couple of reasons why somebody would want to have a second PC and use a remote desktop. And the first one is they literally have a second PC which has specific software, specific documents, specific files, this and that, and they have a second PC that they want to access, and the only way for them to do it, especially in a business type of environment, is using regular Microsoft built-in remote desktop. The other reason is that somebody literally has a second computer as part of their job to process certain files, maybe databases, to do certain processes that require extra CPU power, this and that. Maybe there are other reasons as well, but those are just a couple of examples of somebody using a second PC and using it via remote desktop. So he's using remote desktop to access this second PC, but he can't hear any audio coming from that. So it's kind of like this. You see in this computer here where I'm basically recording this, you can see that the name of my computer here is Tech Support. This Tech Support computer is a remote desktop session. So if I play any audio on here, for example, I go to YouTube and I play a video, I'm not able to hear any audio, and that's his problem here. So we can fix that. So first thing we have to do is open up remote desktop session on user's computer, on his computers, on Mike's computer. We open up a remote desktop session, and then we click here, show options. We're going to expand options, and we're going to go to the third tab where it says here local resources, and the first thing that comes up is remote audio. So we're going to click on settings where it says here configure remote audio settings. So this is exactly where we need to go, so we're going to click on settings. So this computer here is this remote desktop session is set up to play audio on this computer. So by default, it's set like this. If I was to use a remote desktop session on this computer to connect to a second computer over there, it will play audio from that computer on my computer. Okay, I don't want this to sound too confusing, but let me just show you. So if I go to youtube.com/Kobuman, it's going to, okay, my first time going to my own channel on this computer. Anyways, any audio that you see here right now is actually being played on the remote computer itself. That's exactly what his problem is. So in order to fix that, we have to make sure that its settings are set to this, play on this computer. Otherwise, we can't hear this voice at all, as you can see. Right now, on my computer, which is here where it says tech support, I'm using remote desktop. Right now, it's set to play audio on the other computer, which is this setting. So on the second PC, wherever it may be, this is what it's set like right now on my computer that I'm using right now. It's playing on remote computer right now. So to fix this, we have to make sure that it's set to play on this computer, which should be set by default. And that's fine. This is how we would fix that. But I also want to show you something else. So let me complete that ticket, and we're going to come back to this because I really want to talk about something here that's going to be also related to troubleshooting. Very important. And let's wrap this up. So we're just going to add internal note and say changed remote desktop settings to play audio on a local computer. Okay. And then we're going to, of course, have him test it, this and that. That's fine. This should be an easy ticket, and then we're going to close it, of course. Of course, don't forget to assign ticket to yourself as well. Very important, so you can get credit before you close it. And since we know Mike Moser, we've worked with him many, many times. We're going to just close it. We're going to let him know, hey, it should be fine now. So we're done with Mike. But I do want to go back to that remote desktop connection to show you something very, very important. So let me explain what I mean. If you get a ticket that a user cannot use their local headset, for example, they have a headset somewhere, their user is somewhere else, and you need to troubleshoot their headset sound issues, and you can't, because if you use remote desktop session, let's say you're limited to only using remote desktop session, it's going to look just like this. You remote into their computer, just like I am connected to this tech support computer right now, and it's going to look like this. It's just going to say remote audio. There is no headset to select. There is no audio to troubleshoot. Here, let me show you. If I go to sound settings here, it just says remote audio. There is nothing else. There is no headset to select. So you would assume that something is wrong, right? Well, that's not right. The problem is actually this. You have to go to local resources before you connect to that computer. You have to go to local resource on your remote desktop session, click settings, and select play on remote computer, just like we had it previously. And then you go in and then you type in user's computer name, you click connect, and then we can make changes to the local. See, now it's looking like it's different. It made it made different settings here. You see, now we can select speakers that are Realtek, which is the typical. You see how I got confused because I made the change right away. It took a little bit to configure, but yeah, now we can actually see that there's Realtek definition audio. Same thing. If I go over there and plug in a headset, you will see it come up as well. All right. So you probably saw that I plugged it in. Now we can troubleshoot that headset on that remote computer. So you would just say to the user or ask them to plug in their headset if it's not showing up like that, and then you'll be able to do it. Otherwise, if you don't change it to play on the local computer like I showed you, you won't be able to troubleshoot it, and you will just assume that there is something wrong with the audio. You have to make sure that it's set play on remote computer. Otherwise you won't be able to troubleshoot it. So that's something to keep in mind if you only have remote desktop connection as the available resource of taking control of somebody's computer and troubleshooting these type of issues. All right. I hope that comes off as something that you can easily follow, because it is kind of confusing, but it is what it is. This is how you have to kind of go about it and to troubleshoot some of these weird issues that might come up. Okie dokie. All right, so let's look at this other ticket. It says my local admin account is not working, and it specifically says here, hello, I have a local admin account to make changes on my PC, but it's not working. Thanks, Larry. So this guy was given specific local admin account to use for some reason, and of course, don't ever, if you have the ability, don't ever give somebody a local admin account password because of the security reasons. We have to double and triple check to make sure that this person is actually allowed. So we're going to go with that assumption. All right, let's assign the ticket to ourselves. We're going to work that. We're going to contact him and ask him, hey, what is the name of the local admin account that you're trying to use? So, and then he tells you what the name is, and then we're going to search for it on our computer. Now, this is not to be confused with the main admin accounts. Those are different. They will not be listed under local admin users. So we're going to just type in users here to get to the point where we can add or edit and see which users or which accounts are available there to begin with. This is just one way of looking at this. This shows you some administrator accounts. And the other way is if you go to the system settings or system properties, and then we look at advanced system settings, and then we click on user profiles, we're going to see all the accounts that are listed here. However, there is a big difference here, what we're looking at. We're looking at two very different things. And I want to kind of emphasize this. This is why I created this fictitious ticket, is that what we're looking at here is local accounts that are on the computer. When it comes to this window here, this is where you would add them. These are all the actual account login information that's available on this computer. Now, what we're looking at here is actually user profiles that are stored. So this is location, or this is how much space is taken up by creating a local profile on the C drive. This is not information for this person's, for any of these accounts. This is just what's stored locally. And the thing is though, although that describes this, if you were to click and delete this profile, it would delete everything that's stored on this computer, meaning all of these things are located on the C drive. So if you go to local users on the C drive, so C users, you can see that they are here. Here is the BUCO, which is the first one. Here's the Cobbleman test account, which is this one. And here's the YT login, is this one. So if I click delete on any of these, which I can't delete this one. This one never shows up if you're using it. It's kind of bizarre, but this one is actually on here as well. It's not showing up. I don't know if that's some kind of a feature of Windows, but this YT login actually does exist on this computer as well because I'm using it right now, but yet it's not listed, and I know it's an admin account. It doesn't matter. Getting back to the point of what I'm talking about here. If I select, for example, this one, BUCO, and then I select delete, it will delete everything that's inside of this folder. So anything that's inside of here, desktop, documents, everything will be deleted. Okay, now that we understand what that is, we're going to cancel out of this. I'm going to leave this window open here because we're going to get back to it. What we're going to do, what I actually wanted you to learn from this fictional ticket is what happens when you create a local admin account or try to use another account on a computer to troubleshoot issues. For example, let's say you need to use an admin account to fix something or to run specific application. This is what happens when you do that. So what we're going to do here, we're going to create a local Microsoft account, and we're going to name it local admin. Not a very secure name, but it doesn't matter because, you know, this is just for practice. And it's forcing me to do all this stuff now. Okay. So now we have another local admin. We're going to change type to administrator. So this is just a standard user. We're going to change it to administrator. Now we have a local account that's administrator account. However, if you go to the settings here in user profile, you can see that it's not there. There's nothing there. And then if we go to the root of C again, we know we have the local profile. We go to root of C, we go to users, it's not there. Well, why is that? Because I want you to know that this completely separates this account from the stored data on the computer, in the sense that there is no local profile created, only a local admin account. So it's only a local admin account until you log in to this computer for the first time, or if you use, for example, your own local admin account, whether it's domain or local, it doesn't matter. Let's say you're troubleshooting something. Let's say you're troubleshooting something and you want to run, for example, this Google Chrome as administrator in order to troubleshoot some things. You can literally right click this icon and click run as administrator, and on a business restricted computer you will get a pop-up to log in to use your local credentials. But since I'm already logged in as admin on another account, it's not going to give me that. So what I'm going to do is hold shift, right click this Google Chrome icon. So I'm holding shift key on the keyboard, and now we have an option to run it as different user. Otherwise it doesn't show up. Run as different user doesn't show up. Here, let me show you. Right click, it's just run as administrator. But if I shift right click, run as different user. So that's what we're going to select. I apologize, this is just a glitch here. Run as different user. This is just a scaling issue with my monitor, but it's basically asking me here to put in my login credentials. So we're going to use this local admin. So it's same thing. If you have a domain admin, you would type in the same login ID. So we're gonna your own local ID or your domain admin ID. I'm sorry. So but in this case we're going to use this one. So we're going to type in local admin. So if I tab over, it's actually in the password space. I'm sorry, you can't see it. It's because of the scaling on this 4K monitor and using remote desktop session specifically. So if I click OK, I've typed in local admin and the password below. You just can't see it. And I'm just going to click OK, and now it's going to run Chrome under that specific account, under that specific local administrator account. So this is useful if you're trying to update the computer and you need to use your own administrator login. So right now, this specific window and only this window is running under that local admin and separately from this other ticket window. It's run separately. To prove it to you, we're going to go back to our folder, and we can see now that there is a local admin profile created because we used that local admin to run as admin on this computer. So it actually had to create settings folder inside of that. You can see that. You see? So this is how these things work. And let me show you this here. We don't need this here anymore. But I want to go back to here, user profiles. Now when we click on user profiles, we can see that local admin show up, and it's right there. And you can see it's only 78 megabytes. That's very, very tiny. And usually when a user logs in for the first time into computer, it's going to create a much larger local profile. But the reason this one here is only 78 megabytes is because it only created a basic, sort of like a template information for this local admin profile on this computer, just so we can run and store settings for Chrome. Okay? And then we're going to, let me see if I can open it here. And we're going to, and here it is. You can see that there's some basic documents here, and then there's app data. And then if we go to, for example, local, Google Chrome folder is there, along with Microsoft. It's just the basic Microsoft stuff that comes with default settings for the Microsoft operating system. But it has that Google Chrome that we just opened. You see that? And it says 98 megabytes, but that's because, you know, by the time we opened it up, Google Chrome itself had actually, you know, stored some data on its own, this and that. And so that's how that works. But the great thing about this, if you have somebody, a remote user, who's never logged in to a computer before, let's say somebody takes their computer home and they can't log into it for some reason, but you have remote desktop access to it, you can basically do the same thing to get it going. So it's kind of a workaround, but it's kind of confusing, I know. But as long as you can get this local profile created and get it going. That way, when somebody locks their computer, they can literally type in the same thing and just get access to this without having to be connected to the network in order to log into this computer for the first time. Okay, that was quite a bit, and I hope this wasn't too confusing. Hopefully it gives you an idea of what's going on with these profiles. And again, whether it's a local profile or domain profile, it's going to act the same way if you run it as admin or run as different user. But this is what happens in the background while you're doing all of this stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to reply to customer and say, hello Larry, I've created a local admin profile named local admin, and the password is, XXXXX, whatever. This is not necessarily what you want to do because then everybody will see it. Matter of fact, I would just tell them what it is. But I'm just going to pretend like we're doing this, which you shouldn't necessarily do at all, because whoever looks at your ticket, and God knows how many people, they'll know what the local admin login ID is and password. So you might want to just tell him, or I don't know, whatever the settings are, or whatever the setup or requirements are for the company when it comes to dealing with giving out passwords like this and login IDs as well. All right, guys. I hope you like this video. Please take a moment to like, share, and leave a comment. Let me know if you have any ideas for future videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.